Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We will be covering the Nikola Jokic. He passed Magic Johnson for third on the all-time triple-double list. We'll be discussing the Los Angeles Chargers Chiefs game. We'll discuss the Buffalo Bills taking on the Rams. And then we'll do a full preview of the NFL Week 14 slate, the rest of the games that we didn't talk about. And then make sure you stick around for the end of the show. We'll be previewing big Premier League game coming up this weekend between Chelsea and Tottenham. If you have a question during the show, we want to hear your input. Is a big part of what makes the show successful, and we thrive on your energies and insights. Whether the quick comment, a thoughtful question, or an opinion you just have to share, please don't hesitate to drop it in the chat. And if you want to make absolutely sure your message stands out and gets featured on the show, there's an easy way to do that. Just use the super chat button at the bottom of the chat box to send in your super chat. This guarantees that your super chat gets read on the air, and it's also a fantastic way to support our channel. We really rely on your support to keep bringing you the sports content you love, and we appreciate every bit of it. So go ahead, let us know what you're thinking, hit that super chat button, and let's keep the show as interactive and exciting as possible. And if you prefer, you can always go to the gsmcpodcast.net to tip, donate, or leave a comment or question there. We couldn't do what we do without your amazing support, and we're so thankful to have you as part of our community. We start off, though, with Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic has done something, I have to be honest, quite remarkable the more and more I think about it. He has already jumped up. This is a Nikola Jokic that's only 29 years of age. Only it's been in the league now. I believe this is his ninth season in the league, or this is his 10th season in the league. He's only, this is his 10th season in the league, and he's only 29 years old, and he has already surpassed Mr. Triple Double himself, Magic Johnson, for third on the all-time triple double list. For me, remarkable achievement to do it from the center position. If you compare everybody else in that, in that triple, double, list, the top, in the top 12, there's only one other center that is in that list, and that is Will Chamberlain, who was his version of a stat machine in that era. He did some ridiculous things, Will Chamberlain did, but even Jokic is just way ahead of him now, with 139. Now Jokic, he does have a lot to climb. He also has Russell Westbrook, who's ahead of him, who's on his team right now. That's had Nikola Jokic, he's running away with Westbrook with the all-time leading triple doubles. He's at 200 right now. That's absolutely fabulous. But Jokic, just the consistency, the level. This is a dude, 3-time MVP, and he's almost so great that we take his greatness for granted. Honestly, I have to say, last year when it came to the MVP race, a lot of people saying, you could argue Shea maybe should have won it, but there's some people saying, Jokic got robbed, or Shea got robbed. Like, that's just an insult to what Nicholas Jokic was last season. Nikola Jokic last season was averaging, and keep in mind, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was averaging, I believe, 30, but this was a Jokic that averaged 29.9 points per game on 55% shooting, or 58% shooting. He averaged 26.4 points a game, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, and he was an important part. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander only got the number 1 seed because of a tiebreaker over the Denver Nuggets. They didn't even win more games than the Nuggets. They just had that tiebreaker. I think it was based on division records or something of that sort. Jokic has been great. You could argue he could have really been a back-to-back MVP, which would have been crazy. He's already won that championship. And the way, as a big man, he can facilitate is absolutely unbelievable. He truly is a jack of all trades, a modern center, and the funny thing is he does have that little bit of a data bod. If you look, he doesn't have the prototypical NBA physique, but the way that the way he can move, first of all, the stamina he has. The one thing that really shocks me about Jokic is it can be the second overtime of a ball game. He's still going at it like it was the first minute of the game. And what he also was for Serbia this summer, such a huge impact for that team. He really, you cannot stop him in the paint. If you try to blitz him, he has the vision to find the open man every single time. If you leave him one-on-one, well, he's absolutely cooking any big man that you try to put on him. Forget Anthony Davis, forget Embiid, Adebayo, it doesn't matter. He will, he's a mismatch for any big. He's a mismatch for any big. He has, he can stretch the floor as well. He has a very comfortable mid-range. He can occasionally hit the three. He's shooting ridiculous 50% this season from three-point line, which is a ridiculous number. He's been really good from three-point line this season. But even in his career, he's a 35% three-point shooter. He's never dropped below 30%. His lowest career year as a shooter was 2018-19 season where he shot 30%. He's not, there's nothing that he cannot do. And the way he can play make from that position, he really is. And the play style is not similar. But Larry Bird is a good example because Larry Bird was one hell of a playmaker. Larry Bird, that's why he's also on this list with 59 triple-doubles as well. And, Jokic getting this at age 29 is just unbelievable because he's not the freakish athletic nature that LeBron, that Magic Johnson, that Oscar Robertson, that Russell Westbrook was. I've always looked at triple-double as an athleticism statistic because it requires a lot of... it's a combination of, obviously, athleticism and skill, don't get me wrong, but the stamina, the endurance, the physicality that it requires to go up, especially as a guard, to go get 10 rebounds. You have to have the brilliant ability to play make as well to get 10 assists. And then you have to be a good player yourself and be able to get a bucket on your own. Doing all those three things at that high of a level takes a lot of energy. And usually it's the high motor athletes like a Russell Westbrook, like Oscar Robertson, like a LeBron James, like a Magic Johnson that are able to get stats like that. Jason Kidd, he's up there, with 107 triple-doubles, but Jason Kidd triple-doubles is, it's like a 15, 10, and 10 sometimes. Not the most impressive. They're still triple-doubles, don't get me wrong. But what Jokic does, these are impressive triple-doubles in which defenders just don't know how to play him. Should we double? If we double, he's going to find the open man. We leave him one-on-one. He's going to give hell to, to whoever's guarding him. What do we do? How do we limit Jokic? And it's a question that, again, his opponents have not been able to figure out because, you could argue he should have won 4 straight MVPs and he's on the verge for another one. I think he's been absolutely ridiculously good this season. Now the Denver Nuggets are sitting in the 8th seed right now because they've struggled in their first quarter of this season. They started off really, really bad. Lately, they've turned it around a little bit, but they turned it around for a bit in the middle, but now they're starting to drop games again. They lost to the Cap. They've lost two of the last three of the last five. So that's something that they'll, if Jokic wants to make, he wants to get that 4 out of 5, he'll definitely have to, get higher up in the standings. But yeah, he's just an absolutely brilliant player. I can't give him enough as a flowers. He has the championship that he's also deserved, and I look forward to seeing him continue to blossom in his career. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we will preview the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on their fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Before the break, we discussed Nikola Jokic passing Magic Johnson for third on the triple-double list. We move on to discuss the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Los Angeles Chargers are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday. My opinion, I have to be honest, for Week 14 slate, not the most exciting set of fixtures. I think I'm looking at a lot of these games, and I pretty much see a clear favorite in all of these games. Talking about the games that matter, you have some tight ones like the Bengals going up against the Cowboys, but that's two teams we don't expect to be in the playoffs. Apart from that, I think all the games that have the legitimate contenders to be in the playoffs, we have pretty clear favorites. Maybe the 49ers Bears could be interesting, but the Chargers Chiefs is a good one. Sunday night as well. Go back early into the season, we had a little bit of a dull fest with that Chiefs Kansas City the Kansas City and LA Chargers game. We had a defensive showdown. That was a Los Angeles Chargers team that really, really struggled to show any sort of offensive firepower at that point in the season. They, as a unit, they were a pretty mediocre offense at that point in the season. They just got held by the Steelers to 10 points the week before. And then they got held to 10 points by Kansas City in that one, and they came out in that first quarter actually, and they got a 10-0 lead, and then from there on they just couldn't generate any offense. They couldn't push the ball down the field because the Chargers, they don't have that superstar. Even in that game, it was Elijah McConkey with 5 receptions and 67 yards with the touchdown. That was their leading receiver. The next leading receiver after that was Joshua Palmer with was 3 receptions for 36 yards. So, Kansas, that Chargers team and this Chargers team, though, is a little bit different. I think Jim Harbaugh has been able to get more out of this Chargers offense of late to what they did against Cincinnati. They're still not the most high-flying offense or so. Don't get me wrong. But they're able to semi-push the ball down the field. And it's important in this one. Well, the reason why I don't have crazy amount of faith with Chargers is the Chargers, they don't have the offensive firepower to put Kansas City away. They don't have that power, and when you let the Kansas City Chiefs linger, that's exactly when they make you pay. It's when you give them the opportunity to linger around and to stay alive in the ball game, and you don't take advantage of your opportunities when they come, and you just keep letting them linger till suddenly you're in a close game in the fourth quarter and Mahomes has the ball, and you're just saying, how the hell did we get in that situation? And that's what it is. That's what has made Kansas City Chiefs so great this season. The fact that they've been able to stay in these ball games, and that's my thinking. That's why I find it difficult for the Chargers to go in to get this result because, well, you don't have the offensive firepower to make them go away. Well, the last thing you want is to get in a close game, close battle with them, down stretch into the 2-minute warning. You give the ball to Mahomes, only down 3, or only up 3 or whatever. That's just not the situation where you want to find yourself in. You don't want to be late game close with them because there's no team that does it better. They're 11-1 and they've won like 2 games maybe with more than one possession. Just shows that they're up for these close game moments, that the pressure doesn't get to them. And yeah, with Chargers inexperience, I just think, look, if the Chargers had more offensive firepower on that unit, I feel like they would have enough to put Kansas City away early. But they don't have that. And the remarkable thing is, Buffalo does, and they were able to put them away in this game, but they weren't able to do it in the playoffs or in this regular season, but they weren't able to do it in the playoffs that mattered. That's why I worry about any team in the playoffs going up against Kansas City. Kansas City just has that pedigree. They have that belief. It's almost I have to see it to believe it, to think that they're not going to the Super Bowl. And I'm really that steadfast on it. Good luck to anybody. Obviously, I'd love to see another team represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Getting tired of seeing the Chiefs. I think Chiefs won the last 3 or 4 Super Bowls. And I like parity. I never like it when, it's the same team over and over again. That really, I don't mess with that. I like parity. I like seeing new teams win the Super Bowl every year. That's why I enjoyed the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl. That's why I was happy when Cincinnati were able to knock out the Chiefs in that one AFC championship. It's just like, but I'm afraid we're gonna see the exact same thing that we saw from last season repeat all over again. As far as LA, this is, by the way, playoff implications. This has pretty big implications for both of these units. Going to Kansas City first. Kansas City is a team that's battling for the number 1 seed, and you have a Buffalo Bills team right behind you on your tail that has the tiebreaker over you. So obviously Kansas City has to have a better record than Buffalo, period. And the good thing about it for Kansas City is they have that 1-game advantage right now. But this is a game that could, get rid of that advantage. And it's not an easy game, going up against a division rival, being coached by Jim Harbaugh. This game is in Kansas City. So I think Arrowhead is going to be ruckus. I think this is going to be the biggest atmosphere Arrowhead has had this season because of the circumstances, going up against the Chargers, defending that number 1 seed. This is Kansas City's Chiefs probably, well, they have some difficult games coming up. Actually, going up against the Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. So this game is important. You don't want to drop this game whatsoever. And then I do think it takes a game for Kansas City to drop where we will recognize, okay, this team is, maybe it's true. Maybe they're actually not going to make a Super Bowl. I feel like that narrative will actually go extreme if they lose this game, because people are already saying it despite them being 11-1, number 1 seed in the AFC, best record in the NFL, or tied with Detroit. Or now they're not tied anymore because Detroit won, so they have to win to be tied with Detroit. Moving on to the Chargers. Obviously, Chargers are competing for a playoff spot. They're in that battle with, in that 6 to 7 seed race. Maybe could get the 5th seed depending on how it breaks down. Now that would be difficult because Baltimore is the tiebreaker over them, and then if it doesn't end up being Baltimore, that wins the division. I mean, if it doesn't end up being Pittsburgh, that wins the division, and it's Baltimore instead, which seems unlikely at this point. Then Pittsburgh also has the tiebreaker over Baltimore, so I think over the Chargers. So I think Chargers are relatively just trying to sit comfortable in that 6th seed position, which I think they will, as long as they keep taking care of their business in games that they're supposed to win. Huge one with them going up against the Broncos. A Broncos team that's also on their tail. You don't want to allow Broncos to get, because Chargers beat Broncos earlier, but then you're eliminating your tiebreaker if you let if Denver wins that one. So I think we have some big games coming up in all facets, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, for me, I have to say I'm favoring 1,000% unequivocally Kansas City, because I think the fact that Chargers offense is just not explosive enough, will not generate enough points, that will be more enough to keep Kansas City in it late in a close ball game in which I trust the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands more than I trust the ball in most quarterbacks in the league, but also definitely Justin Herbert's hands. So yeah, short break here coming up. When we come back, we will preview the Bills taking on the Rams.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.